Hi everyone! Today I'm going to be doing another Preptober video. In case you don't already know, Preptober is what many people call the month of October because we're prepping, preparing for NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month, which has been held every November since I believe 1999. And this is based off of a blog post which is going to go live on the 1st of November. And it's talking about why I decided to write NaNoWriMo by hand this year. I mean, many people in the modern era, they just can't conceive, why would you, voluntarily write by hand, particularly an entire first draft of a book, or, do multiple, many different books by hand, or do, anything else by hand long-term instead of just, typing all the time, or even these days, texting or taking a picture of the text on the board. But writing by hand, it's so absolutely wonderful. I love writing by hand. It helps to calm me down, ground me, center me. It just takes me back from all these many years, memories, both good and bad, of writing by hand in my journal, and older drafts of books and stuff and that, and just uses different parts of your brain when you're writing by hand. And it also forces you to write with more abandon, because you can't, oh, I'm editing this and I'm editing that and I'm just overthinking and way too much in my own head. When you're just writing by hand, it's just go 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 go. You can't have the option of looking back and just deciding to change everything. And so this is going to be my 10th year officially participating in NaNoWriMo, and lucky number 13 of total participation. I later retroactively honestly added my word counts for the books, which I began in November's in 2010, 2011, and 2012. I had a really a silly misunderstanding. I believed for many years you had to write a book that was completed only 50,000 words, and that you couldn't write a book that was longer than that. Like me, I write way longer than that on purpose. And I also didn't realize you can add to a book that's already in progress and just be a nano rebel and stuff like that. And so this is really going to be fun for me. The first time I've ever written nano by hand, and it's been so long, too long in fact, since I've written any first drafts of my books by hand, as I've mentioned in a number of previous blog posts. After some consideration, I decided my 2023 nano project will be Rising from the Rubble, from my handwritten magnum opus Cinnamon, the numbering of its part in the book yet to be determined, though it's somewhere in the 60s, and it follows immediately upon the heels of Charlotte's Most Terrifying Prophecy, my July camp project. And if you've read many of my blog posts or watch any recent videos, you'll know I unfortunately had Cinnamon on hiatus for over 10 years, and I left off in October of 1998, so there's obviously a 3-year gap between then and where I had jumped ahead to September 2001. So I am writing a little bit out of order, but I just felt I'm really fresh with inspiration and motivation to continue that story and right where it left off, particularly because they just have to have a happy ending after the really horrifying terrorist act they all lived through in the previous one. And though it was a valuable experience and very convenient to type part of this book, which has been 99.9% handwritten since I began it in 1993, I recently celebrated my 30th anniversary on the 3rd of October, believe it or not. That didn't make me want to switch over to all typing all the time. That's what the later transcription and editing are for. And because this video is unscripted when I'm not talking right from the blog post, which is based off of, I forgot to mention I don't yet know the numbering of the part in the overall book my nano project will be, because I did put that gap between 1998 and 2001, and also because I just don't want to preemptively number, I'm sorry if that's the incorrect term, just number ahead of time and find out, oh, I have to reorganize the numbers all over again and go through a whole cluster what I could have easily avoided. But I do know there will be an even 60 parts in the book, up to from its beginning in Pearl Harbor Day in 1941 up to the dawn of the new millennium and the year 2000. But I don't want to number ahead of time, but it will definitely be maybe 65, 63 or whatever the part I'm working on. So let's just say that's to be determined. And so many people who have never written an entire book by hand, or who haven't done that since they were very young and didn't have a computer yet, genuinely don't understand how anyone could voluntarily do that when we have computers nowadays. They also assume it makes the writing and editing process much longer and more cumbersome. But for me, returning to writing by hand is an emotionally powerful return to my roots. I'll continue typing all my other books, that was never in question, But for Cinnamon, why fix what wasn't broken? When I finally returned to the long hiatus, part 56, crossing the point of no return, I could physically feel myself decompressing, like I was finally back where I belonged, like nothing ever changed. As I have written about many times prior on my main blog, Nano has had a very deleterious effect on my writing, which I, didn't realize for many, many years. And it was severely compounded by lockdown. Without realizing it, I fell into permanent editor mode and was mentally blocked from letting books write me instead of the other way around. When you write by hand, you have no choice but to keep going straight ahead. You don't have the option of constantly writing and rewriting lines, parts of lines, and paragraphs over and over again, nor can you decide, oh wow, I just wrote a whole paragraph or a whole scene or big chunk of a chapter that was just cluttery chat or pointless, or maybe it belongs better in a different book in the series or another book entirely, or maybe just keep it as some fun backstory or character development in a different file that's not used in any book at all. So you can't really do that. You can't oh, I'm going to highlight this and copy and paste it into a different file, or keep it in the master word count file for Nano, but don't keep it at all in the separate chapter files for the individual book, which I am actually going to be editing. And so when you're writing by hand, you're just stuck with the words on the page, and you can only do minor edits, like say crossing out a misspelling or a wrong word, like you intended a completely different word, but you were distracted. Let's say this was something that happened in Cinnamon in 1993 sometime. I was listening to the song American Pie on the radio, and so I guess I was my mind was fluffed up, and I just wrote deliver on the page, and I completely meant a different word than that. I still can see that in my mind's eye, or maybe someone is trying to talk to you through the door, you're hearing someone yelling outside, and that just gets into your mind, and you subconsciously or unconsciously write down the word you're hearing instead of the word you actually meant. So the brain is really, really funny thing, and so you write the correct word above the one you didn't really mean to write, and you cross it out, or you add in a word you forgot in a sentence. I do the proofreader mark thing, you just write a little caret, I guess, or a upside down hot chuck or whatever, between the two words on the bottom, and then you write between them and above them the word you forgot in the sentence, maybe you left out the word the or something embarrassing like that, or maybe you can write little notes in a margin. But other than that, it's just go, go, go. The point of writing by hand isn't to overthink and overanalyze and constantly edit and over edit and be in your own head. That's what the editing process is for at the end of all this. So essentially, you have the joy of pure, unbridled, unadulterated creation, just putting one word after another without the constant stress of second guessing and premature editing. I'll have to manually count my words and put the numbers into a lorem ipsum generator, but I've done that with other handwritten material, mostly journal entries, in many prior nanos. The only difference is that this time I'll be counting many more words. Being the pedantic nitpicker I am, I'll count every single word instead of guesstimating by the average number of words on a page. Since I count creative nonfiction towards my Nano goal, which I've been doing since 2017, that really, really helped to give me back my writing mojo. It was half creative nonfiction blog posts. It was a 12-part series on my main blog about the film The Jazz Singer at 90, and it was half the actual fictional project for Nano. That would just, I can't say enough about how that helped me to get my writing mojo back. And then you realize I still have it. Thank you for helping me out of this slump and writer's block I was in for so long, and I've just continued doing it ever since. In some years that's again been really, really helpful. If I hadn't counted the creative nonfiction for blog posts and journal entries, both for the main Nano in November and the camp months in July and April, I would have been up the creek without a paddle. And so basically some of this material will be coming from blog posts and thus not be 100% handwritten. I will be doing a little bit of typing, and some people, they say, that's going to take twice as long, you're writing it by hand in the daytime or the nighttime or whatever, and then on the second part of the day you're going to be typing it all out. No, you don't do that. That's going to actually waste time. All you do is write by hand, and then you count the words, plug them into the lorem ipsum generator, and then you copy and paste the lorem ipsum text into your word count file. Then you add that number into the Nano word count tracker on their main website. That's how you do it. You don't have to take time out to type it all. You're just, again, that's overthinking, constant editor mode. Just write by hand for the joy. And then you can start transcribing after you have finished the book, and then you can do the edits after you've finished the transcription. Doing more handwriting will also give my eyes a break from looking at the computer screen so many hours a day, and perhaps reduce my chronic tension headaches, which I've been suffering with since my junior year of high school. Plus, it's easier to take a notebook and pens to write in than a computer plug and mouse. Handwriting also engages the brain in a more personal and emotional way than typing, and we tend to better remember things written by hand. I can still, like many years later, see in my mind's eye like things I wrote by hand on the page in Cinnamon and other books and like journal entries and stuff. I can just I do have an elephantine memory, but it's like you just like seeing it, remembering like where I was and like the way the handwriting looked on the page and where it was like exactly. That's just like, it really comes back in a way you can't when you're just of scrolling through a document you entirely, typed on the computer. And that, again, like obviously this isn't fiction writing, but it does help a lot with like studying. And when you're like memorizing a poem, just like, writing it down, it just like helps with like the memory like pathways in the brain versus just like, oh, you typed everything. And since I'm ambidextrous, I do not need to worry about, hand pain. So like if I get tired of like writing with the right hand, it's like, sore muscles or crampy or the writing calluses, too much pain, guess what? I'll just, switch to a pen in the left hand. So that's, really, really cool. And these are like some of my pens in front of me. I do have like a pen tour planned video coming up, but like I'm just going to wait until Fountain Pen Day in the first Friday of November so I can get a couple of more pens. They have lots of great sales on lots of websites then, and I'll have a more full pen tour to give you guys. Thank you very much for watching. Please let me know in the comments down below if you guys have ever like written nano by hand, and if you have, or if you like are planning to do it, or if you would ever consider it. Like, do you have any favorite pens you would use to write it with? I did have a recent video about a notebook tour, and like also let me know if you guys have any like really, really cool, like favorite beautiful notebooks you would like to write nano in, or you have in the past, or you have your eye on, just, or would love to buy just to write in by hand at any point, or like if you have like a favorite pen of mine, or just like anything like related to, like writing by hand. I would love to talk more about it with you guys, and like find my writing tribe who still like does the analog thing in this day and age when everyone like types constantly and just feels like, oh, writing by hand, even with print, is just like too musty and old-fashioned and like fuddy-duddy. And like, I still use cursive in this day and age, and I'm, very, very proud of that. And so please, again, consider leaving me a comment. I would really, really love to have like more chat with you guys about this, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.